So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. You back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Friday, September 24th. Hope everyone's having a good day so far today and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Friday, September 4th here today. 24th here today. Coming off another big night in sports last night as we had some Thursday night football on. The Carolina Panthers were able to defeat the Houston Texans 24-9, which was a really, it was actually a pretty good game. I mean, the score, kind of shows it was a little, maybe a little further than what it really was. In the fourth quarter had a big part of that with the Panthers kind of adding on 10 points. But going into the fourth quarter, it was a 14-6 ball game, and you're talking about a touchdown and a 2-point conversion away. The Houston Texans would have been to tying that game. So, it was actually a relatively close game, even though the final score turned out to be, 2 scores going into the fourth quarter. The Texans were just a touchdown and a 2-point conversion away from tying that game and really making things interesting going into, the later parts of that game. So the Panthers were able to get the win last night. Were able to move to 3-0. Darnold looks good. A lot of things to like about over there in Carolina, even though McCaffrey got hurt. So we'll get to all that. A lot of baseball as well yesterday. A ton of sports. I apologize for no podcast yesterday or Wednesday. Like I said, my setup has kind of been all over the place. For the past couple of podcasts, you've just been getting audio. As we all know, my other setup right now is out of commission for a little bit, so I'm back in this one. I should be back in this one now for a little while here, and then hopefully I get back into my other setup sooner rather than later. But I am back in my setup that I've been using now, so I'll be using this for, obviously, as I said, now on, which is kind of why I've been a little bit backed up with the pods, because kind of my setup situation has been a little interesting to say the least. I've had some only audio videos, and then have some from here, so I'm back here, back doing this, so that's really good. Lots to get to today, a lot of baseball, a lot of football. It's Friday, we know what that means. It's game picks. But I mean, hey, don't get overshadowed the fact that, there's a lot of good football that's on this weekend. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really good college games. And there's a couple really good college football games. A couple teams, going out and seeing. There's a lot of really good NFL games on this weekend, too. A lot of really good ones. There's a couple really, really good ones this week. Like some games that you're going to want to circle. There's going to be some good games. They might not include the most fascinating teams ever, but just in terms of probably going to be a good game and a close matchup, there's a lot of those this weekend. So we're in for a lot of good football, but don't let that get in the way of the fact that baseball, this is arguably the Yankees' this is the Yankees' biggest series of the season. If the Yankees go into Fenway this weekend and lose 3 straight games and get swept, well, guess what? Their season's probably over. They're probably not making the playoffs. And it's going to be real bad because then they're going to have to go to Toronto and then play the Tampa, and that's not easy. So the Yankees have to get the job done this weekend, and I think that's got to be the mindset. Like, there's not rocket science. There's 9 games left. 9 of those games are against AL East opponents, right? Boston, then Toronto, and then you finish up at the stadium against Tampa Bay. So this is it. This is it. Do you want to make the playoffs or not? They got to win these games. I think at least you got to go 7-2. 6-3 is 5-4 definitely is probably not going to get it done. Anything below that, that's terrible. So it starts tonight with the Yankees. It starts tonight. This 9-game stretch, specifically this series in general, will decide whether or not the New York Yankees are going to be playing in October or going to be on a beach somewhere in the offseason in October. That's going to be what the New York Yankees are going to have to do. And it all starts tonight with your ace, Garrett Cole, on the mound versus Boston in Fenway. It doesn't get much harder than this. I mean, this is difficult. This is not going to be easy. But this is what we all expected the Yankees to be like. This is why we went out and signed Garrett Cole for a ton of money. This is why we went out and made all these trade deadline signings for moments like this, for series like this. to come out big and big situations and get big wins. And we'll see if that all comes true starting tonight with a massive 3-game set. I mean, this isn't, if we lose all 3 of these games, you can't say, oh, well, we still got 6 more games to go. Let's see if we go. No, if we lose all 3 of these games, it's probably over. It is probably over if we lose all 3 of these games. We got to at least take 2 out of the 3. Even if you lose 2 out of 3, that's not good enough. So it starts tonight. So great weekend of football ahead of us, college and NFL. But don't let that overshadow. I'm really excited this weekend for New York Yankees baseball and what will they do, along with some Jets football as well, and Miami straight trash this season, so I'll watch them, but they've not had a good year so far. So a lot to get to today on the podcast. Yankees baseball, Jet football, Giants football, Mets, even though they stink and they're pretty much done. Either way, we'll talk about it. We'll get into it. As we all know, you know the drill. Topics are NFL game picks. I'll give you my game picks, give you my picks for every game, give you a slight little recap on what happened in the Panthers-Texans game. I'll give you that, talk about it, talk about all the games, do a special preview for the Jets and the Giants, go a little bit more in depth with them, and I'll give you my game picks for every single game this weekend. Obviously, Monday night game, I'll reveal that on Monday, which is between the Cowboys and the Eagles, and we'll get to that. Then we'll get to fantasy football advice, get you ready for a big weekend ahead, and fantasy in general. Fantasy football big, obviously always a big weekend, and this is in fantasy baseball. I'm currently winning right now, I believe like 206 to 197, something or somewhere around there. So this is it. Monday we will figure out who's going to win fantasy baseball. So right now I'm currently winning, but that is definitely not secure at all because he's got a lot of pitching going, and we'll see how that plays out. So a big weekend in fantasy in general, but we'll talk about fantasy football as well, and then we'll get to New York sports update. Yankees tonight, Mets tonight. If you're really still a believer in the Mets, this is a big series for the Mets. Very well, if the Mets lose tonight and maybe tomorrow, I think they're probably eliminated. So if you're one of those Met fans out there that's still believing, well, this is a big series for them as well. If you've kind of given up on the season already, this is just another series for the Mets, and we'll see what they can do. But there is no doubt about it that this is the New York Yankees single-handedly their biggest series of the season. I don't think anyone can make the argument. Right now it is. Now, maybe Tampa Bay Rays, when we play them, might be our biggest series of the season, right? If it comes down to Yankees needing to win 2 out of 3 against Tampa, that will then be our biggest season. But right now, today, Friday, September 24th, this is the biggest series. Very well could change. Maybe that Tampa Bay series could turn into the biggest series. That can maybe decide. Maybe it could come down to the final game of the season. Win, you're in. Lose, you're done. So right now, though, this is the biggest series. Yankees got to get the job done. So we'll get to all that. With all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers last night got the win, 24-9. It was actually a relatively low-scoring game, 7-6 going into halftime, and then obviously kind of the Panthers opened it up a little bit more in the second half, outscoring the Texans 17-3. Just kind of the simple takeaway from this game, Texans offense just couldn't do enough. That's kind of really it, and I think we all expected that. Davis Mills didn't really play that bad. He did his job, and I don't know what people really expected out of him, but he did his job. He threw a touchdown, 188 yards, I think. He got sacked a lot. Like I said, I just think, it was one of these games we knew going into this game was going to be an offensive struggle for the Texans, and it was going to come down to, can the Panthers just score enough points to get the job done? That's really the thing was. And going into this game, it was, can the Texans find a way to contain Christian McCaffrey, Sam Darnold, and this offense? And they were kind of able to do it for the most part, but it was kind of one of those situations where you get to the fourth quarter, your offense isn't scoring, your offense is off the field every 3 plays, and your defense ends up bending and eventually breaking, and they weren't able to get the job done. So Panthers won 24-9. Darnold went 23-34 with 304 yards, 13.2 his average. He did not throw a touchdown, did not throw a pick, got sacked 3 times, but overall had a pretty good day. Chuba Hubbard had 11 carries for 52 yards. It's a win. You got to celebrate it. But if you're a Panthers fan today, you're obviously a little bit upset. Christian McCaffrey was not able to finish out the game. He had a hamstring strain. He's going to miss a couple weeks, they said. Hopefully it's nothing major. Not even as a Panther fan, just as an NFL fan. He's a fun player to watch, a very good athlete, all around, just an excellent player. Gotta hope it's not anything severe. Last season, he only played 3 games. This year, he played, yesterday was his 3rd game, but you got to hope that he's able to bounce back quickly from that. Darnold had 2 rushing touchdowns, and Tremble had a rushing touchdown as well. So an odd game, just a very weird game. Darnold throws for 304 yards, does not score a touchdown. Panthers are 3-0. Davis Mills starts. Just a weird game overall. Not much scoring. That's how Thursday Night Football games are. It's odd. Thursday Night Football games are weird. Teams are a little interesting. Always, just in terms of who's in it. But we actually got a pretty good football game. We did. Now, it wasn't crazy entertaining, scoring everywhere else, but if you're a fan that likes defensive football games, last night was your type of game up until really the 4th quarter when the Panthers really kind of, put up 10 points, and that was kind of it. But, I did predict the Panthers to win last night. Like I said, I don't lie. I'm honest. I'm going to be honest. I know I did not do a podcast, but I was going to predict I predicted the Panthers. I think that's kind of obvious. I've talked many times that the week 1 when the the Texans won, I said I wasn't buying into it. I was going to pick the Panthers to win if Tyrod Taylor was going to play, but I was going to predict it to be closer than the 8 points that the Panthers were 8-point favorites. I was going to predict it to be closer, but yesterday I kind of expected it to be more of a, kind of the Panthers winning and getting the job done, and they did. So I'm 1-0 this week on my game picks, which means I'm 3-0 picking Thursday Night Football, which is actually pretty good. Last week, I remember I actually struggled on Thursday Night Football. This year, it's the different. Week 1, I got it right. Week 2, got it right. And yesterday as well, I got it right. So I'm 1-0 on 3-0 overall on Thursday Night Football picks. And I'm 1-0 this week. So my record going into Sunday is 19-14 on the season, including the win this week. Alrighty, with all that being said, let's get to all of the NFL games this weekend. We got a lot of them. We got a lot of good ones. Jets, Broncos, Giants, Falcons are your New York football team games this weekend as well. But a lot of other games to get to. With all that being said, let's get to my week 3 NFL game picks. I'll go right down the line here. However, the app I'm using here, Bleacher Report, it just goes right down the line. All right. Let's get to it. So we got the Browns and the Bears. Browns come into this game 1-1. Bears come into this game 1-1. Browns are 7-point favorites. The over-under is set at 44.5. And this game goes on Sunday, 1 Eastern on Fox. So the big storyline coming into this game is Justin Fields. He's obviously going to start for the Buffalo Bears. The Chicago Bears, rather. I don't know what I was saying. But the Chicago Bears, that's the big storyline coming into this game is Justin Fields is going to make his rookie, not really rookie debut because he did that last week, but rookie starting debut. He's going to get his first start in the NFL. And that's big because this is really a big game for the Bears to see, win or lose. What do you see in your rookie quarterback? This is a big game. This is his debut. What do you see in him? Early signs. How does he fit in the offense? What does he look like? Yeah, last week I know he played, but it's a little different. He's going to be starting this week. It's actually against a pretty good defense. So if he looks good this week against a good defense, that's a good early sign that you drafted maybe the right guy. Now, you don't want to make too much of it. Whether he does good or bad, you don't want to overreact either way because it's just going to be his first start. So I think there could be a little bit of rustiness. There could be a little bit of, maybe some just nerves. We saw Wilson, saw with Lawrence. I think it's kind of expected to see with Fields a little bit. Maybe just some first game nerves, some rookie mistakes. I ultimately start Fields or not start Fields. I ultimately think the Browns are the better team. Now, I will tell you this. I think it does give the Bears a better chance to win with Fields out there. I will tell you that. So for whatever it's worth, I will tell you that if you are going to predict this game and whatever you're doing, I will tell you that I think it's going to be closer just because Fields is playing. I think Dalton's terrible. I don't think he's good enough to be. I think kind of last year was it for him. I do think this game's going to be closer than many expect. I think the Browns do cover, but if Dalton was starting this game, I would say Browns win by 2 touchdowns. I don't think that's the case. I do think the Browns win 31-21. They win by 10. I think kind of a touchdown, and maybe the Bears make a little bit of a comeback late, but I think for the most part they win. They win pretty comfortably. But if Fields was playing, or if Dalton was playing, I would have given the Browns the win by 14, 17 points. But Fields is playing. I think they're going to be a little more competitive. Give me the Browns, 31-21. Take the over on the over-under, 44.5, and I think the Browns cover the 7 points. Next game here, we got the Steelers and the Bengals. Steelers come in this game 1-1. Bengals also 1-1. Steelers home for the second straight week in a row. They are 3-point favorites. The over-under is set at 43. And this comes on 1 Eastern on CBS on Sunday. Well, the big story going into this game is not really a big story, but can the Steelers get back on the right track? Obviously, they had a big week 1 win against Buffalo. The last week they were facing up against a Raiders team. We're not able to get the job done. Are we going to see that Pittsburgh team we saw in Buffalo, specifically the Pittsburgh team we saw in Buffalo in the second half, where they made the adjustments, specifically made the adjustments on offense, came out, looked like a completely different ball game. Last week, they struggled a little bit on offense, but Derek Carr just had a really big day. This week, it's like back to, it's a solid quarterback in Burrow. What are you going to get? I just personally think it's this. I don't really like the 3 points. I don't. I think the Steelers are going to win a lot more than 3 points. So, in terms of predicting, I think you got to take the Steelers and the points. I think the Steelers are going to win this game. I don't think it's going to be outrageously bad, meaning, 40-10. But I think they're going to win pretty comfortably. I just don't think the Bengals are good enough to defeat the Steelers. I just don't. I like what the Bengals got working with Burrow and their receivers, but I've talked about it so many times throughout the offseason. I still don't trust his offensive line. And they're going up against one of the best defenses in the league. How are they going to be able to stop some of these top defenders? Burrow's going to be running for his life this entire game. Give me the Steelers. And give me the Steelers by a pretty good amount. I'm not saying it's going to be 40-10, but I think the Steelers win 31-14. I'll take the under on the over-under of, I'll take the over on the over-under of 43, and I think the Steelers win, and I think they win pretty comfortably as well. I don't know why it's only 3 points. Pittsburgh at home as well. Give me Pittsburgh, and I think they cover. Next game we got is the Cardinals and the Jaguars. Cardinals come in this game 2-0. Jaguars looking for their first win. They're 0-2. This game, the Cardinals come in 8-point favorites. The over-under is 51.5. 1 Eastern on Fox. I think this is obvious. Cardinals are going to win this game. Okay, the Jaguars look straight out terrible. They look awful. Urban Meyer looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. Trevor Lawrence making a lot of terrible rookie mistakes. Kyler Murray looks like an MVP, and Chandler Jones looks like a Defensive Player of the Year. Boom, give me the Cardinals, 31-10. I'll take the under on the over-under of 51.5, and I think the Cardinals covered easily. Not much I have to say about that game. Cardinals are going to win. Jaguars are going to have to, if the Jaguars go out and win, okay, good. Jaguars look awful. They look terrible. I've said it from the start. Hiring Urban Meyer was a mistake, and it's going to cost them again this week. Give me the Cardinals. We got the Chiefs and the Chargers. Chiefs coming in this game 6.5-point favorites. The over-under is set at 54.5. And this game comes on also at 1 Eastern on CBS. This is going to be a fun game. I actually think this game is going to be close. I know the Chargers, winning week 1 against Washington, a really good defense, not able to do as much against a little bit of a weaker defense with Dallas. I know they've been improved this year through the first 2 games against the Bucs and the Chargers, but still their defense isn't anything special. They are improved, but it's still nothing special. And you look at the Chiefs, and Chiefs coming off of a really tough loss to swallow. Just the way that game ended, just the way the game started, they looked like they were going to run away with it, and then just the way the game ended, and Jackson making the big plays and all that stuff going for it, not able to stop them, and it was really just a brutal game. And I feel like in a way that loss could fuel the Chiefs, because that's one of those losses that you look at that you should have had. The Chiefs should have won that game. You start off the game with two picks on, Jackson. The momentum's all yours. Everybody's fired up. And then the game just, then you just blow it. And the way they blew it, too, late in the game. They were in control first half. Come second half, started to lose it. And then come fourth quarter, they just completely lost it. And, this is one of these games where the Chiefs are, in a situation where they're that's one of those games that you look back on at the end of the year and you pull out all those games, make the playoffs or not make the playoffs, and you look, that's going to be one of those games you circle and said, if we get that game back or we make 1 or 2 better decisions, we win that football game. So I actually think the Chiefs are going to come out of this game with a lot of energy, a lot of passion, a lot of just energy just in terms of the way they lost last week against Baltimore, just the way it happened, The way it started, they were rolling, cruising, everything was going all their way, and it turned away from them really quickly. Now, I do think it's going to be close, because I like the Chargers a lot. You know I like Herbert a lot. You know I like what the Chargers got working over there. So I actually think it's going to be close. I think the Chiefs cover 24-17. I think the Chiefs score a touchdown late and get the win. Give me the Chiefs. 31-24 rather. Did I say 24-17? I don't know what I was saying. 31-24, Chiefs win. I accidentally revealed my score for the other game. 24-17 I had for the Titans-Colts game. Not telling you who I thought was going to win, but I accidentally revealed my score for the other game. So 31-24, Chiefs over the Chargers. They just barely cover the 6.5, but I think it's going to be a close game. I'll take the over on the over-under of 54.5, and I think the Chiefs win and cover. Barely, though. They just cover. It's not going to be that far. It's going to be just covering the 6.5. Next up, we got the Titans and the Colts. Titans come in this game 5.5-point favorites. The over-under is 48. Colts are 0-2. Titans 1-1. This game goes on also at 1 Eastern on CBS. As I mentioned, score for this game I said was going to be 24-17. Here's my big thing with this game. Okay. If Wentz plays, I think it's going to be I think it's actually be a pretty solid game. If Wentz doesn't play, this game's going to get out of hand fast. So, if Wentz plays, I think the Titans will win 24-17. Now, if Wentz doesn't play, I could see it 31-10. I could see it an absolute blowout. Just in terms of turnovers, not, defense, just not getting any offensive drives going. Just the Titans straight up destroying the Colts. So, if Wentz plays, 24-17, Titans win. You know what I think about the Titans offense? You know what my thoughts are on the Colts. I like the Colts defense a lot. Haven't seen enough out of their offense yet to give me full trust and full belief that Wentz is the answer over there. He's had some good moments, but he hasn't won yet. And Colts are going to want wins. Wentz is going to have to win in football games if he's really the answer there for the future. I just like the Titans offense a lot. I really do. They had a big week last week. That looked like the Titans offense. Now they really got to get Tannehill going. Tannehill had an week 1. Last week, threw for 300-something yards, but no touchdowns. This week, they got to get Tannehill going. Get Tannehill going, get Tannehill rolling, get these receivers involved, and really, really get this offense going. Henry got going last week. This week, it's an opportunity to get the pass game going. Give me the Titans 24-17. I think they cover the 5.5, and I'll take the over on the over-under of 48. Right? Over on the over-under 48 or under? 34-7. Yeah, 41. Okay. So, think the Titans will win and cover. We'll get to the Giants and the Falcons in a little bit. We got the Ravens and the Lions. Ravens come in this game 8-point favorites and 1-1. Lions are 0-2. The over-under is 50.5. Also 1 Eastern on CBS. I've talked about this a lot, right? The Ravens, we all don't know their injury, situation over there and all that stuff. We all know how that is. We all know, right? So, I think if you are, the Ravens fan, with all those injuries and stuff, and the fact that you were still able to, knock off the Chiefs and all that stuff, that's all great. We also know how I feel about the Lions. I've actually thought the Lions have played well in the first 2 games. They have not won, but I thought they played well. And if you're a Lions fan, you gotta feel at least somewhat confident the way this thing seems to be working so far. Yes, they have not won, and I understand that. But they've shown fight, they've shown battle, and that's all really good things when you get a new coach. When you get a new coach, you want to see battle, you want to see passion, you want to see fight, you want to see all that stuff. You don't want to see guys giving up. You don't want to see guys, walking and slowly, looking like they're not trying. You want to see guys that don't back down and that are giving you 100% for 60 minutes. And the Lions have done that. And they especially proved it in week 1. So there's a lot of positives to take from early season from the Lions. I don't think they're good enough. I just don't think their roster yet's good enough. As much as I think they've played pretty well, I'm not going to sit here and think the Lions are going to beat the Ravens, but I actually think it's going to be close. I don't think the Ravens cover this game. I don't think the Ravens cover. I think coming off a big win against the Chiefs, Lions being kind of a feisty team, aggressive, they're competitive. They've been competitive the first 2 games. I know the scores might not show it and all that stuff. Losing by a touchdown at 2-point conversion and losing 35-17, scores might not show it as much. But if you watch the games, Lions haven't really looked that bad. They looked a lot better than they were last season and a couple years before that as well. I do think the Ravens win. I don't think they cover, though. Ravens win 31-24. Ravens win. I don't think they cover. I think they win with it by a touchdown. I could see this being one of these games where the Lions maybe make a slow comeback, 31-17, 28-14. Lions maybe cut it to a 4-point lead, and maybe the Raiders, or not the Raiders, sorry, I was looking at my notes here. The Ravens come out and, put the icing on the cake, kicking a field goal, and the Lions still get the job done. I could see it something like that, kind of a game like that. But I didn't think the Ravens win. I don't think they cover, but I think the Ravens win. I'll take the over on the over-under 50.5. I think the Ravens win, but I don't think they cover the 8 points. Next up, we got the Patriots. This is really where the really good games come in here. A lot of good games coming up here. So we got the Saints and the Patriots. Patriots come in this game 1-1. Saints are 1-1 as well. Patriots are 3-point favorites, and the over-under is 42.5. 1 Eastern on Fox as well. I saw the Patriots last week for the first time. I saw them a little bit against the Dolphins, just replays and stuff. But I fully watched the Patriots. Obviously, they're playing the Jets for the first time last week. And it's everything we could expect. It's a team that doesn't throw the ball that deep. It's a lot of underneath stuff. And they rely heavily on their defense. And their defense causes turnovers. And their defense forces quarterbacks into bad decisions. I saw 4 bad decisions last week. So, I've been going back and forth with this pick for the past couple days. And I went back and forth before I did the podcast. Because before I do the podcast, I always just go over my picks and make sure I'm not missing anything or make sure everything's right. Because I don't want to come on here, tell you the pick and not being my pick. So I always just go over my picks one more time. And I always just check and make sure that those are the teams that I really think will win. So I was looking at this. And a little bit before I did my podcast, I was looking and I was like, do I take the Saints or the Patriots? Saints or the Patriots. This is one of these 50-50s. This is one of these games where I usually can look at a game and I'll pick. Like the Cardinals-Jaguars game, I didn't really go into the numbers. I picked the Cardinals. I still think the Cardinals will win. Same thing with the Giants-Falcons and the Jets-Broncos win. I think those 2 games are pretty obvious of who's going to win. This game, however, I had to really go a little bit deep into the numbers. And I kind of got thinking, just reasons why I think this team will win. I think the Patriots will win. And I've been kind of, I was sitting and looking, I was like, why do I think the Patriots are going to win? I couldn't find a complete reason. Because both these teams are kind of like in a similar situations. Like, they're trying to figure out, like, if they have their quarterback. Breeze retired. Brady, obviously, we all know, went to the Bucs. Like, is it Mac Jones this year? Is it Winston? Both teams have good defenses, but their offense has a lot of question marks. And it's like both these teams, it's not that they're bad, but they're not what they once were. Both these teams are in similar boats. It's like they haven't made any major changes to their coaching staff or their roster. Or maybe the Patriots have. They made some big changes over the offseason. But they're in a similar situation. Like, they're not terrible, but they're not what they once were. I think the Patriots win this game, and I'll tell you why. After kind of thinking about it and what I saw last week out of the Patriots, they forced quarterbacks into a lot of turnovers. They forced quarterbacks into a lot of bad decisions. Jameis Winston, we all know, has a big turnover issue. He showed it a little bit last week throwing 2 picks. I believe it was 2 picks. I know it was 1. I know he threw 1 pick. I think he also threw 2. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he threw 2 picks. You force Winston into bad decisions, he'll make those bad decisions. Belichick throws a lot at you, whether you're a rookie, specifically rookies, but whether you're a rookie or a guy that's been in the league for 10 years. He throws a lot at you. I think the Patriots win strictly because of their defense. I think they're going to force Winston into some bad situations and bad throws. Then they're going to turn the ball over a lot. And then the Patriots win. Extremely low scoring, 17-10 Patriots win. They cover the 3. 17-14 rather. They just cover the 3. And I'll take the under on the over-under 42.5. And I think the Patriots win and they cover the 3 points. This is where the really good games come in. Saints, Patriots, good game. This is another good game here. Bills, Washington. Bills and Washington both come in this game 1-1 apiece. Bills are 7.5-point favorites. The over-under is set at 45.5. This game goes on 1 Eastern on Fox. I'll tell you what. I do not like this spread at all. I don't think this spread's good. In terms of if you're going to go out and put money on the Bills to cover the spread, I strongly disagree. You know how I feel about Washington. I like Washington's defense a lot. I really do. Now, you also know how I feel about the Bills. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. I've been a big advocate this offseason of everyone saying Josh Allen's a one-year wonder and that. I've been backing up Josh Allen this entire offseason. I said that this is the Josh Allen the Bills drafted. You just needed to give him a number one receiver. He got his number one receiver in Stephon Diggs. We saw what he was capable last year, and we've seen so far this season. Now, have the Bills been the Bills the first 2 weeks of the season? No. There's been a lot of definitely some rust, a little bit of iffy parts. But they've went up against two really good defenses, and the Bills are facing yet again another really good defense. They went up against the Pittsburgh week 1, really good defense. Miami last week, really good defense. And this week again, Washington, really good defense. So the Bills have not been able to catch a break. You know how I feel about Washington. I like their defense a lot. But ultimately what I think has the advantage here is the Bills. Because of their offense and because of their quarterback. And I like Allen a lot. I think it's really good. Their receiving core. I just think the Bills are a little too overpowering on offense. But I think it's extremely close. Bills win with a late field goal to win it. 24-21. Bills win on a game-winning field goal. They don't cover the 7.5. They don't. I don't think they'll cover the 7.5. But I do think I'll take the under on the over-under 45.5. I think the Bills win, but I don't think they cover the 7.5. But I do think the Bills will win. All right, so let's get to the 4 o'clock games and then the Sunday games and then the Sunday night game rather, and then the Jets and the Giants. All right, so 4:05 Eastern on CBS is the Ravens and the Dolphins. Ravens are 2-0, Dolphins 1-1. Raiders coming into this game 3.5-point favorites. The over/under is 44. Okay, I'll tell you this. I don't believe Tua's playing. Jacoby Brissett's in. Raiders win. Last week, the offense looked brutal under Brissett. It looked terrible. It looked awful. It looked discombobulated. It was everything that could have went wrong for the Dolphins last week. And I just talked highly about the Bills, but we all know the Bills don't have any elite defense by any means. Raiders have a pretty good defense. And what I've seen so far out of Derek Carr and this offense has been really, really promising. Now, one of the things has been with the Raiders, most recently, especially since John Gruden took over as coach, was winning all year long. Because they start off really strong. They'll start off 5-2, 6-3, and then they'll end the year 7-9, 8-8. They'll find a way to lose their 4 of their final 5, and they end up not making the playoffs. So the Raiders need to keep this up. I think the Raiders improved to 3-0. If Tua was playing this game, I would probably still give the Raiders the win, but I think it would be closer. I just have no belief in Jacoby Brissett whatsoever. And I said all those years when people were like, oh, Brissett could play for the Colts. I said it all along. I don't think Brissett's a good quarterback. He's not. He's a backup quarterback. He's a backup quarterback in the league. Raiders are going to win this game. I don't even think it's going to be close. Raiders are going to blow them out of water 31-14. Raiders win. I think it's going to be like last week. Defense isn't going to play bad, but it's going to get to the point where they just can't hold them anymore. I mean, yeah, the defense let up 35 points last week, but the offense scored 0. I mean, and it's not like Allen by any means was electric or that Bills offense was electric. They scored 35 points, but I get it. 35 points, but the offense didn't help you either. I think the Raiders are going to win. It's going to be similar like last week. Raiders win, cover easily, take the over. Raiders win this game. Jacoby Brissett's just not going to win you football. Just not going to win you a football game. He's just not. Alrighty, I think the biggest game of the week. I think this is the best game of the week. In terms of just straight up matchup. I kind of wish this game was on Sunday Night Football. Just because I would be able to watch it. Because I'm going to obviously be watching the Jets. That's my favorite team. I'm not going to not watch the Jets. I'll definitely watch the Jets. But this in terms of matchup and just media and anticipation is the best game. Buccaneers Rams. Both teams come into the game 2-0. Buccaneers are a very small 1.5-point favorite, and the over-under is 55, 4:25 Eastern on Fox. Man, oh man, Stafford, Brady, battling it out, McVay, Arians. Is this a possible preview of an NFC Championship game or somewhere in the playoffs? This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a really, really good game. I'm going to tell you that first. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I don't think one side has a major advantage. This is going to be a really good game. I think this has the makings of being a game that we talk about the rest of this season. It could have the makings of the Rams-Chiefs game. Remember the Rams-Chiefs game? Where that game was just scoring after scoring after scoring. Still to this day, I can't believe that game was that crazy. This has the makings to be that game. You have Tom Brady and the Buccaneers versus Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams. I was about to say Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions. So weird that it's just odd. It really is odd. Watching Matthew Stafford in the Rams uniform, I got to get used to it. I've seen him once so far against the Bears. I got to get used to it. It's just weird. You know, a guy who's played for the Lions his whole career to just switch like that. And Goff in a Lions uniform is weird. But the thing with Goff, he's younger. So, you know, it's not like he's been in a Rams uniform forever. He's only was with the Rams for, 3-4 seasons? I mean, Stafford's been with the Lions his entire career. And just to have it happen like that was kind of weird. But either way, it's going to be a really good matchup. Okay, you know how I feel about the Bucs. You know, I'm iffy with both these teams. I said it. I've said it. Like, a lot of this Rams talk of buying into, Stafford's going to do this and that, I haven't fully bought in. I think what makes the Rams so good, and I still stand by it, is their defense. And what makes the Bucs so good is Brady. It's the truth. And Brady makes the Bucs so good. Without Brady, that team's I mean, it's the truth. Since Brady's gone there, what has the Bucs done? They've won championships. All these people are like, oh, no, the Bucs actually have a really good team and all this stuff. Remove Brady from the roster, see how it works for you. Remove Brady from the team, put in your backup quarterback, and see if you can win. I like the Rams in this game. I do. I actually think the Rams are going to win this game. And I'll tell you why. I just think the Rams are the better football team. I really do. You know I'm in with the Bucs. It might be a little biased because I don't like Brady and all that stuff. I like the Rams a lot in this game. I do. I just think the Rams are the better football team. At the end of the day, who's going to win you a football game? Who has the more talent on the roster? Who's the best team? Who's the better team? I think it's the Rams. I also think Brady's a veteran, been in the league for a long time, has had a lot of big games. So this is not, I don't know if it's going to be so much he gets caught looking ahead. But this could be one of these games where the Buccaneers maybe get caught peeking ahead a little bit. Because we all know next week, Brady returns to Foxborough next week with a massive matchup against the Patriots on Sunday Night Football. We all know. So he faces them next week. It's like maybe they get caught looking ahead a little bit. That could be one of those games. So I personally think the Rams will win this game. I think their defense is just better, and I think overall they're a better team. 38-35 Rams win. Extremely high scoring. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to come down to the final couple minutes. I think the Rams win. Take the over by a mile on the 55.5. And give me the Rams plus 1.5. I think the Rams will win. Alrighty, we got 2 more games left, and then Jets and the Giants. So Seahawks, Vikings. Seahawks are 1-1, Vikings 0-2. Seahawks are 2-point favorites. Over/under is 55. Also comes on 4:25 Eastern on Fox. The Vikings have gotten off to a slow start. With Cook and all those guys in that offense, they've gotten off to a slow start, and we all know the Vikings are. They're an average football team. They're nothing special. They're nothing crazy. Now, we saw the Seahawks last week. Tough loss, tough pill to swallow. This could be one of these games, like the Chiefs, where the Seahawks come out, firing on all cylinders, angry about the loss that they took last week. They were more than in that game. Could have easily took that win. They didn't. They couldn't get the job done. This is one of these games where you look at and you're mad about the loss. You're not happy. You come back and you're firing on all cylinders. That could be one of these games. I think it's going to be that for the Chiefs. And I also think it's going to be there for the Seahawks. And either way, Seahawks are the better football team. Let's be honest here. Vikings are Seahawks are very good. Give me the Seahawks. 28-17. Seahawks win. I'll take the under on the over-under 55.5. And I don't understand these lines. 2 points. Why are the Seahawks 2-point favorites? They should at least be 7. They should at least be 7. Especially coming off the loss they took last week, 33-30 in overtime. You know how much that must hurt? These guys want to get back out there. These guys are hungry. Seahawks are going to win. Give me the Seahawks. Alrighty, one more game here. Another game that I don't understand the spread either. There's a lot of games that, there's these weeks. Like, as the season goes on, there's some interesting spreads. I don't understand why the Bills are 7.5-point favorites against Washington. I think the Bills will win, but I think it's going to be close. Am I the only one that thinks it's going to be close? Like, am I the only one? I think that's going to be a close game. Even Ravens-Lions, 8 points is a lot. I mean, I'm not saying the Lions are a Super Bowl contender, but watch them the first 2 games. They've been competitive. Also, Ravens coming off a big emotional win. You could come out a little slow out of the gate, which we thought last week with the Raiders, and they proved us wrong. So maybe the Ravens will also prove us wrong. But I also disagree with the Ravens-Dolphins. I think the Ravens should at least be 10-point favorites, the fact that Jacoby Brissett's going to be playing. Buccaneers, Rams, I think the Rams are going to win, so I guess the Rams should be favorites. But I understand. You're going to give Brady and I don't disagree with that. It's Tom Brady. You're going to have him the favorite. You're not going to go into a big-time game and have Brady as an underdog. Especially when they're 2-0. Why would you not have the Buccaneers as favorite? I think the Rams will win, but I understand why they're the favorites. They're the Bucs, it's Tom Brady. There's a lot of interesting spreads. Even the Steelers 3 against the Bengals. 3-point favorites. Really? Really? That defense against that offensive line? At home? I don't see where, it's, you two look at the history. The Bengals don't seem to beat the Steelers. I understand it's a different roster and different coach and different quarterback and all that, but, I just don't know. I really don't. It's just, there's a lot of interesting spreads this week. A lot of interesting spreads. Even the Monday night game. I'm not going to get into it, but 3.5, kind of questionable. Not going to say which side, but I think it's a little questionable. But either way, we got one more game to pick here, then we'll get to the Jets and the Giants. Another spread that I don't understand. We got the 49ers and the Packers. 49ers coming in this game 2-0. Packers are 1-1. The 49ers are 3-point favorites. The over-under is 50. This game comes on Sunday, 8:20 Eastern on NBC. This will be the nightcap. This will wrap up another big weekend in football on Sunday night. So either way, we got... all right, so either way, it's going to be a good game. I do. Now, we all saw what Green Bay was like week 1. They were awful. They were bad, specifically Aaron Rodgers. We saw what they were able to do in week 2. They were able to bounce back. Now, was it the best win ever? No, because the Lions were competitive. I've talked about it in this entire year. It's not that I'm not, it's not that I don't think the 49ers are a bad team. It's just, I don't think they're as good as what people are making them to be, if you follow what I'm saying. Like, everyone's like, oh, they have a chance to win the NFC West. They could be a playoff team. They could be a Super Bowl contender again. Like, hold on a second. Everybody, a lot of people are up here with the Niners. They're up here. We got to take them back down here. Like, they could make the playoffs. They can win the division. They could be Super Bowl contenders. Like, hold on a second. They drafted Trey Lance. They drafted a quarterback. It obviously goes to show you that they want to see what the future's like. I don't know what it is, but I could check here. I'm going to check. I think this is pretty crazy. But on Bleacher Report, 81% of people think the Packers will win. Now, on a different app, it's interesting. Just goes to show you how people are different. Different app, 61% of people think the Niners will win. So, what's it going to be? Niners or Packers? I don't know why the NFL world is so 50-50 on this. I don't. I think it's obvious. I think the Packers are going to win. Whether they're home or on the road. This case, they're on the road. Am I missing something? I think the Packers are going to win. I really do. Yeah, the Niners are 2-0. Great, good for them. Packers are the better football team. Give me the Packers. I don't even think this is, and maybe I'll be wrong and watch. Monday the 49ers will win, and good. I'll admit it. But right now, really? Like, the Packers being underdogs against the Niners. When we all know when the Packers are out there playing their game, they're one of the best teams in the league. Doesn't make much sense, but I think the Packers win. I think they'll win 31-21, and I'll take the over on the over-under 50, and I think the Packers win. Give me the Packers +3. Packers win. And then we'll get to the Cowboys and Eagles on Monday, as we always do. Alrighty, so let's get to the Jets and the Giants. We'll get to the Jets first. It's just not going to be an easy week for the Jets at all. Jets coming into this game 0-2. Broncos coming into the game 2-0. Broncos are 10.5-point favorites. The over-under is set at 42. This game comes on Sunday, September 26, 4:05 p.m. Eastern on CBS. So, the Broncos are getting a lot of points in this game. 10 points. They're a big favorite. So, they're a big favorite. They are a very, very, very big favorite, which I can see. I can see how. But I was talking to somebody yesterday about this. All right, we all know this season for the New York Jets, it's not about winning a Super Bowl. Now, sure, is that the hope? Is that the goal? That's the goal. I mean, every team's goal is to win a Super Bowl. You're not going to go into a season and say, our goal is to win 5 games. No, that's not. Everybody. I mean, sure, I would love for the Jets to win every single game here on out and win a Super Bowl. That's every fan's dream. But that's not the expectation. The expectation is to see a team develop. And the expectation this week, this is a big week. Early in the career of Zach Wilson, this is a big week. He threw 4 interceptions last week. It was not good. It was not good at all. It was really bad. Okay? His first really bad start. Now he's only made 2, but that was bad. And there's going to be moments in your career where you have some really good games and some really bad games. The best of the best have them. It's how you respond can tell what type of player you will be. So Wilson's going up against another really good defense. High altitude, on the road, loud stadium. Denver's actually got a pretty big crowd. The Broncos, an overall good football team. It's not going to be easy at all. It's how Wilson responds. And all I ask is that the Jets please keep this game close. Because this is one of these games that on paper has the making of being an absolute blowout. Just in terms of who's better at each position and overall who has the better roster. And that's the Denver Broncos. The Jets have got to find a way to keep this game close. And if the Jets want any chance of winning this game, you have to, and I mean have to, cut down on the turnovers. And I'm specifically talking about Wilson. He can't throw 4 interceptions again. And I'm not beating up on him, but I'm telling you the truth. I don't sugarcoat. You know me on the podcast. I don't sugarcoat things. I'm not a guy to sugarcoat. I'm not a guy to sit here and say, it's okay, that's great. No. You want to win this football game, you want to be successful in the league, you got to cut down on the turnovers. So Wilson this week, it's going to be big to see how he responds. Because if he responds and goes out there and throws 2 touchdowns and 250 yards, well, hey, that's really good. Win or lose, that's a big positive to take. Because that goes to show you that last week's performance didn't get caught up in his head. That's the big story. That's the big thing going into this week. And it seems like Wilson's always the big thing going into every week, but that's how it is with a new quarterback. But especially this week. Because we all knew there was going to be a rocky game. Every quarterback has it. Rookie, not a rookie. In your final year, in your first year. Whatever it is, you're always going to have a bad game. I mean, geez, Tom Brady last season, didn't he throw like 3-4 picks in a game as well? Against the Saints, you're always going to have a bad game. You're not going to be perfect all the time. It's how you respond. And it's going to be interesting to see how Wilson responds. And if Wilson can limit the turnovers and the Jets can run some offense, specifically get the run game going, this could be a relatively closer game than many expect. I don't think the Jets are going to win. I don't. I think it's too difficult. In Denver, on the road, West Coast, right? Just West Coast trips, on the road, good defense. That doesn't mix well. With a young roster and a first-year head coach, those things don't mix well. So I think the Broncos win. But if the Jets can limit the turnovers and specifically get the run game going, because we saw what the run game could be like last week. And if Wilson didn't throw all those interceptions, Jets probably would have won last week's game. Limit the turnovers and get the run game going, Jets could very well make this game close. But until they show it for a full game, give me the Broncos 24-10. I just think their defense is too tough. I think the Broncos cover the 10.5 points. I'll take the over or the under on the over-under of 42. And I think the Broncos win 24-10. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But it's just a very good defense that the Broncos are throwing out there. But hey, it's a big week for the Jets. Jets win this week. You're 1-2. You go next week. You go up against the Texans. Very bad defense, and that could be a week to improve as well. That's all we want to see. Building blocks. That's what we need to see. So I think the Broncos will win, but I hope I'm wrong. Big week for the Jets would be. I mean, if the Jets come out of Denver with a win, everything, all that New England game and Carolina game will all be erased. Especially if Wilson has a good day. Like if Wilson goes out there and throws for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the Jets win, that could be a win that changes not just the trajectory of, no, I shouldn't say the season, because that doesn't mean just if the Jets win next week, or this week, that doesn't mean they're going to all of a sudden be playoff contenders. But it will be big to get the first one out of the way. Now it's just smooth sailing from there. Now it's just about tackling each week. But we'll see how it all plays out. But go Jets. I hate picking against my teams, but, I got to be honest. I can't just be biased when I pick, because if you're biased, you would always pick for your team. But I'm not biased. I'm not a biased sports fan at all. I can't stand when people are biased towards their team. Oh, my team's going to win every single week. That's just simply not true. And as a Jet fan, you clearly know the Jets are not going to win every single game. They're going to lose a lot more than they win. That tends to happen a lot. But hey, you just got to hope they find a way to get the win. Alrighty, so let's get to the Giants and the Falcons. So both these teams looking for their first win, so something's got to give. Unless if there's a tie. And how the season has been going for the Giants, just within these first 2 games, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a tie. But I'm not going to predict the tie. Both these teams are 0-2, Giants and the Falcons. Giants are back home. They are 3-point favorites. The over-under is 47.5. This game goes on Sunday, September 26th, 1 Eastern on Fox. So the Giants coming to this game, it's a big week for the Giants. A very big week for the Giants. And I'll tell you why. Simple as this. Look at their schedule after this week and tell me why this is a big week for the Giants. The Giants win this week, you get your first win out of the way. Right? Look at the schedule after this week for the Giants. And I have it up here. Look at it. Saints, Cowboys, Rams, Panthers, Chiefs, Raiders, bye week. Oh yeah, coming out of the bye week, you got to face the Bucs too. The Buccaneers. That's all the way to week 11. I don't want to look that far ahead, but that's just a little bit of what's to come for the Giants. Their schedule this season, we knew going into the year, is brutal. And putting yourself into an 0-3 hole will only make that schedule even harder. There's a good chance if the Giants lose this game, they could win 1 game going into their bye week. I think they have a chance against the Saints. I think depending on how this week goes, if they lose this week, I probably won't give them a win. But if they win this week and they look better, we'll see how all the Saints go and all that stuff. But this is a big week for the Giants. This is a massive week earlier. And we said it last week as well, and they lost. And I said it was a big week, and they lost. So they put themselves already in a hole. And this week's even bigger because if they lose this week, they're 0-3. And then look at their schedule, and it's the Saints, and it's the Cowboys, and it's the Rams, and it's the Panthers, the Chiefs, Raiders, and the bye week. Where do you see a win there? I mean, I can tell you what. Chiefs, Rams definitely aren't wins. Raiders, if they continue to play, they are playing. Definitely not a win. And the Cowboys, we all know how the Giants are. Giants can't seem to beat the Cowboys, although they did once last year. But overall, Cowboys are a better football team than the Giants. That's going to be tough. Saints is possible. And if the Panthers continue to play like they're playing, that's not going to be easy as well. So, we'll see how everything goes. But it's a big week for the Giants. And they're facing a struggling Falcons team. And as much as I make fun of the Giants, and as much as I joke around about the Giants, and I do with the Jets as well, I actually think the Giants are going to win this game. I do. I think the Giants will pick up their first win of the season. I just think the Falcons are that bad. I mean, they're that bad. I mean, Matt Ryan doesn't look good. The offense doesn't look good. Defense doesn't look good. And one of the things we've always said about the Falcons was what's covered up is their offense. That's why they haven't been so bad. Like, they've been close to sinking, but they haven't sunk yet. And it finally looks like this is the year that the Falcons are sinking, and they're going to probably sink. Every year they seem to be sinking, and their offense takes over and gets the ship back above water. Now, does it start sailing again? No, it doesn't. But it's back above water, and they're not sinking. This year, again, they start off the year sinking. This is one of these seasons that could be where they just sink, and after this year, you're talking about a new quarterback, you're talking about other roster changes, you're talking about a lot of different things that could happen. I feel like this is finally the year. You know, it's like things have been holding up for the Falcons, but eventually it's just going to break and bust open. I feel like the way this season has gone so far for them, in 2 weeks they've been non-competitive. I just think the Giants are the better football team. If the Falcons offense can get going, then sure. If the Falcons would to go into this game, and let's say even if they were 0-2, but let's say their offense was playing good, I would maybe give the Falcons the win. But the fact that their offense isn't playing good and their defense, we all know, is bad to begin with, there's not much to like. There's not much optimism, not much to sit here and try to find a way of how the Falcons can win this game. Give me the Giants. And I think the Giants win pretty comfortably as well, 24-17. So I think the Giants will win 24-17. I think they cover the 3 points. I'll take the under on the over-under 47.5. And, take the under on the over-under 47.5. And I think the Giants cover the 3 points. I think the Giants will pick up their first win of the season. Now, don't get that mixed up. I still don't think the Giants are a good football team, and I still think they got a lot of issues. But the Falcons are terrible, and they look terrible. And there's a good chance that London game with the Jets, there's a good chance that's the Jets' first win. I hope it's not. I hope it's that they're going for their third win at that point, because that means they beat both Broncos and Titans. But the Falcons are really bad. I think the Giants will win. All right, so let's go over my game picks. So obviously just revealed the Jets and the Giants game picks, and then the rest of the league is as followed. Browns winning, Steelers winning, Cardinals winning, Chiefs winning, Titans winning. As I mentioned, Jets and Giants I already talked about. Ravens winning, Patriots winning, Bills winning, Raiders winning, Rams winning, Seahawks winning, Packers winning. I'll go through that one more. All right, here we go. So Browns winning, Steelers winning, Cardinals winning, Chiefs winning, Titans winning, Ravens winning, Patriots winning, Bills winning, Raiders winning, Rams winning, Seahawks winning, and the Packers winning. And I have the Jets losing and the Giants winning. Although I hope I'm wrong about the Jets, and I hope the Jets win. That's always the hope. Alrighty, so go Jets. Hope for another good week overall in the NFL, and hoping that the Jets can get in the win column this week with a win. Alrighty, let's get to fantasy football. Hoping that I can erase last week with a win this week would be very good if I can erase last week. Last week I went 0-2 in fantasy, lost in both leagues. So I'm 1-1 in both leagues, 1-1 in the PPR league, 1-1 in the non-PPR league. I will read you what's going on in the non-PPR league first, because there's already some action in the non-PPR league. So I'm currently losing in the non-PPR league 12-0. That's because my opponent had DJ Moore going yesterday. He got 12 points. So going into the week right now, my opponent has a 52% chance to win. I have a 48% chance to win, so 52% obviously the better chance. So he's projected to win 116-113. He's already had one receiver go. 12 points is actually pretty good, so I'm hoping that my team could top that. This week I got pretty much the same lineup I'm rolling out. Haven't made any major changes. I actually kept the Saints defense on my roster. I had Justin Herbert, Nick Chubb, Antonio Gibson, DeAndre Hopkins, Justin Jefferson, Amari Cooper, Robert Tonyan, Chris Carson, Saints defense, and Tyler Bass. And I understand last week, I Allen Robinson had a good week last week, I know. I'm just still a little worried. I think Fields is going to do well. I just think maybe early on they could have maybe a little bit of communication struggles. So my bench is Allen Robinson, Myles Gaskin, Marvin Jones Jr., Tyler Boyd, Damian Harris, and Corey Davis. So some injury updates are as followed. So we got an injury update on DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins' ribs is listed as questionable for Sunday's game at Jacksonville. Josh Weinfuss of ESPN.com reports. So if you're in a situation like I am with Hopkins, some replacements could be, my first replacement personally, I would throw either Marvin Jones Jr. out there or Allen Robinson. Marvin Jones Jr. has played really well, and just Allen Robinson is just a better option over another receiver. Now, there's always that question, do the Cardinals maybe just take it easy on Hopkins because it's the Jaguars? Some teams do that. Ironic, teams do that. It's not really taking your opponent lightly, but if you're facing up against an opponent that you really believe you could beat, and you don't want to risk one of your top guys really going down that much, maybe you have a big game coming up, that could be a thing. So he is questionable. He's projected points, which is good. Usually if they're projected 0, it's not always great because that usually means they seem he's not going to play, but he's still projected 10.6 points. Like I said, non-PPR. But an option could be if he does not play, I would rely on your bench. I would not go out and try to make a move on Sunday. I would utilize what you got on your bench. And if your bench is depleted, well, then you're going to have to make a move, or you can make a move with flex if you have a receiver at flex or something like that. And Amari Cooper as well was questionable early on, but today Cooper ribs practice in full Friday. Armando Salguero of Outkick reports. So he practiced fully today. He seems to be good to go for Monday night. So that's the injury updates there for my non-PPR league. And as for my PPR league, it's a 50-50 chance. He's projected 126. I'm projected 126. So a 50-50 chance to win. Actually, if you really want to go in depth, 126.9 to 126.3. But it's a 50-50 chance to win. So it's going to be a close matchup. I got Ryan Tannehill, Alvin Kamara, Chris Carson, A.J. Brown, Adam Thielen, Robert Tonyan, Amari Cooper, Saints defense, and Tyler Bass. On my bench is Tyler Boyd, Trey Sermon, J.D. McKissick, Marvin Jones Jr., Jamison Crowder, Gabriel Davis, Marquise Brown, and Curtis Samuel. So, some updates with injuries. I got 3 injuries on my bench. So I'm definitely hoping that Cooper does play this week because I got some injuries on my bench. I've been debating if playing Marvin Jones Jr. I really feel like I should. He's had 2 really good weeks, and as much as the Jaguars and Lawrence have struggled, he's been his number 1 target, and he's been his go-to guy. First week of the season, 5 catches, 9 targets, 77 yards and a touchdown, 18.7 fantasy points. And second week, 6 catches, 11 targets, 55 yards and a touchdown, 17.7 fantasy points. He's done his job. I just don't want to take anyone else out. I like Thielen, I like Brown, and I like Cooper a lot. Which is why I actually drafted him, to be kind of a trade piece, but it's kind of getting to the point where I want to play him. I don't really have any space for him. But these are the injury updates. So Jamison Crowder is questionable, which is actually big for the Jets and big overall for that game. Because I really want to see Wilson with his most reliable option. That's Crowder. Guy, when you throw him the ball, he's going to catch it. He's going to make plays. Very reliable. So this is the update on Crowder. Coach Robert Saleh said Crowder groin is expected to be a game-time decision for Sunday's game at Denver. Ralph Fasciano of Sportsnet New York reports. So he's projected no points, which isn't great, but he didn't play last week either, so we'll see, but he's a game-time decision. So if Crowder's in your starting lineup, you got to keep up with that. And that's one of those situations, too, where get somebody on your bench that you know is healthy and you know is ready, because, minute before, you don't want to be going on the waiver wire and trying to make a pickup. So that's an interesting situation there. He's a game-time decision. Marquise Brown also is questionable. Brown ankle is participating at Friday's practice. Jeff Zarbrek of The Athletic reports. And Curtis Samuel is still on IR. No updates on him. So that's that. We'll see how everything goes in terms of fantasy. I'm hoping that Tannehill can get going and that he can get some passes off to A.J. Brown. Indianapolis not a very easy defense, but hoping he can find a way to get going. I like Henry a lot, but for fantasy standards, I'm hoping that he can get going and really, really, really play like he did last season. Alrighty, so let's get to fantasy baseball. As that's not good. I'm now losing. 204 to 201, I'm losing right now. So I had Alex Reyes in my starting lineup. He blew it again, had -4 points. You know what's frustrating is I've contemplated back and forth about dropping Alex Reyes. Not because he's not good, but just because I just needed other starting pitchers, and he's kind of like the odd man out. Like, he's not anything special, but so that's frustrating. I just saw that here. That doesn't help my chances because I would have been winning right now by 1. He gets me -4. So not off to a good start. So no matter what my pitcher, no matter what Cole does today, his points are automatically going to get subtracted. So he could give me 45 points, it will only count as 40. He could give me 20, it's only going to count as 15 coming from pitching, which is a big difference. So that's not good. But this is my lineup either way. I got Will Smith, Matt Olson, Gene Segura, Austin Riley, Carlos Correa, Marcus Semien, Alex Bregman, Christian Yelich, Dylan Carlson, Avisail Garcia, Josh Harrison, AJ Pollock, and Jay Cronenworth. Whit Merrifield's back. I don't know where to put him. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I'm overwhelmed a little bit in fantasy with all the different guys. I have so many outfielders, and they're all very good. I just don't know who to put in and where to put them. And Riley's been playing really good, and I don't want to sit him. So I'll see what I'm going to do there. And I got Garrett Cole on the mound. So that's good. I also have an injury update on Michael Brantley. For whatever it's worth, if I don't even know if he'll be back by the season, but Brantley's progress has slowed as he attempts to return from a knee injury, Jake Kaplan of the Athletic Report. So he's done. I probably should drop him. I mean, he's on my IL, so there's no sense of dropping him. But he's probably not going to play. I mean, unless if he somehow comes back in 3 days, he's just going to sit on my IL for the rest of the season. So that's that, and I got Garrett Cole going tonight as well. And not only do I need a big performance out of Garrett Cole, but let's get to the New York Yankees. Boy, do they need a big performance tonight out of Garrett Cole. And not just tonight, but tomorrow and Sunday. They need not just big performances out of their pitching, but overall big-time play from the team. So let's get to yesterday's games in the MLB. Angels won, Twins won, Phillies won, Nationals won, Orioles won, Indians won, Padres won, Dodgers won, Mariners won, Diamondbacks won, Cardinals won, and the White Sox won. As for today, we got the Cardinals-Cubs. Right now, Cardinals are beating the Cubs 8-5. And the other games are Phillies-Pirates. I'll give Phillies the win. Orioles-Rangers. I'll give Rangers the win. Rays-Marlins. I'll give Rays the win. Reds-Nationals. Give Reds the win. Tigers-Phillies or Tigers-Royals. Give Tigers the win. White Sox-Indians. Give White Sox the win. Cubs-Cardinals. This is the second game. I'll give Cardinals the win. Blue Jays-Twins. Give Blue Jays the win. Giants-Rockies. Give Giants the win. We'll get to the Mets in a second. Padres-Braves. Give Padres the win. Mariners-Angels. Give Mariners the win. Cheaters-A's. Give A's the win. Dodgers-Diamondbacks. I'll give Dodgers the win. And Braves-Padres. I'll give Braves the win. As for the Mets versus Brewers, Mets come in this game 73-79. Brewers coming into this game 91-62. Whatever chances the Mets have, they got to find a way to win tonight if they want to keep their extremely slim, pretty much near impossible chances alive. I think they have to win out and probably get help. Not going to make the playoffs, I'll tell you that for sure. That game goes on today, 8:10 p.m. Eastern on Bauer Sports Wisconsin. You also find out us and why. Mets got Tyler McGill on the mound. He's 3-5 with a 4.57 ERA. And the Brewers got Eric Lawyer on the mound. He's 6-5 with a 3.03 ERA. The over-under is set at 8 for this game. And 82% of people think the Brewers will win. Give me the Brewers. And as for the Yankees and the Red Sox, Red Sox, this is the biggest series of the season for the New York Yankees. As of right now, as we sit here today, Friday, September 24th, this is the biggest series for the Yankees. And there's a good chance Yankees, if they lay a dud this series, there's a good chance they're not making the playoffs. And if they come out this series firing on all cylinders, there's a good chance they could not only make the playoffs, but have home field advantage for the wild card game. So it's Yankees, Red Sox, game 1 of 3, Friday through Sunday. It's a big series when tonight's game's on ESPN and Sunday's game's on ESPN, and I believe tomorrow's is probably on Fox. So it's a big series when A lot of national televised games. Yankees come into this game 86-67. Red Sox come into this game 88-65. This game comes on today, 7:10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. The Yankees got Garrett Cole on the mound. He's 15-8 with a 3.03 ERA. And the Red Sox got Nathan Eovaldi on the mound. He's 10-8 with a 3.58 ERA. The over-under for this game is set at 9. And 51% of people think the Red Sox will win. Boy, that's close. That's close. The lineup just got released as well for the Yankees. Let's see the lineup. I'll read you the lineup here. Just got released. So we'll check here. Alright, so I'm just looking at the lineup. And Gardner's playing center, which I don't quite understand why they're... I don't really understand why they're not putting Stan in the outfield and DHing Voit. I know Voigt's been struggling, but he's been struggling because he plays once every 5 weeks. It's tough when you get one at-bat every 10 games. So LeMahieu's playing batting first, then it's Rizzo, then Judge, Stanton, Gallo, Torres, Urshela, Gardner, Higgy, and then Cole's pitching. So that's your starting lineup. So it's your typical lineup. No major changes, which is good. I'm fine with no major changes. Now, I would like to see Voit in there. I know he's been struggling, but he doesn't play much. He needs his reps. I'm going to give the guy some reps. But yeah, this is it. 9 regular season games remaining. October 3rd is the final day of the regular season. So, if the Yankees want to play in the postseason, these are big games. They need to have these games. They need to win these games. I'll give it. I guess I'll give the Yankees a win. I don't know. I mean, I don't overly feel crazy confident just because it Cole's on the mound, which has got to make you feel confident. But I don't feel confident just about the whole situation being in Boston. If this was at home, I would feel more confident. Boston, at home, crowd behind you. Fact that this is on the road, we've struggled here all season. It's not going to be easy at all. It's not. I'll tell you that for sure. All right, so let's get to college football. Some good games this weekend in college football. Texas A&M, Arkansas, Wisconsin, Notre Dame should be a good game. I think what's the other good game I was looking at? There's another good game as well. I thought there was another game. I thought there was a good SEC game this weekend. Yeah, never mind. It's Texas A&M and Arkansas. I think I already said that. So, yeah. All right, so this week in the for the AP Top 25 games, we got Clemson, North Carolina State. I'll give Clemson the win. Michigan, Rutgers 3-0. I'll give Michigan the win. Fresno State, UNLV. Fresno State to win. Georgia winning. Wisconsin, Notre Dame. I'm actually going to give Notre Dame the win here. Villanova, Penn State. Give Penn State the win. Coastal Carolina winning. Iowa State. Texas A&M, all wins. Auburn win, UCLA, Kansas State, Michigan State, Florida, all wins. Ohio State, North Carolina, Alabama, all winning. And Oklahoma, BYU, Oregon, all winning as well. So that's what I got. And Miami also plays this weekend. Miami versus Central Connecticut State. Miami comes this game 1-2. Central Connecticut State comes this game 1-1. Tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern on RSN. Miami's just not the same team. Give me Miami. I mean, it's Central Connecticut State, so give me Miami. But, yeah, that's that. So, that's your AP Top 25 plus Miami there. So, big weekend of football ahead of us and a big weekend of baseball. So, this is it. This is it for the Yankees. Kind of one of the mindset, win you're in, lose you're not so much out, but your chances are extremely slim. So, that's got to be the mindset of the Yankees. It's that. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's kind of like when we were struggling, it's the same thing here. It's like when we were struggling, it's you have to play better. You got to in fundamental baseball. You just have to be better. Same thing with this. It's not rocket science. You have to win. I mean, we have to win. We win these games, we put ourselves in great position. We lose, that's terrible. That's not good. That could pretty much be your season. So we got to win these big games, some big games. Go Yankees, go Jets. Big weekend ahead of us. Enjoy all of it. Enjoy all the sports. Starting off tonight with the Yankees and the Red Sox kicking us off. And then a lot of great football and a lot of great baseball over the weekend. So enjoy the baseball. Enjoy the football. Enjoy all the sports. It's going to be awesome. As you all know, I take breaks on the weekend, so I will see you all back here on Monday. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Enjoy all the sports. Enjoy your weekend. I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.